Hey everybody, happy Saturday. It's Jillian here. And I know a lot of you, if you're in my area, are out running 15Ks because that's where my husband is. Um, if you are not familiar with my story, really quick, I am a dietitian, a mom, and a full-time entrepreneur. I left my full-time job 1 year ago this month, and I love to come on here and talk to you all about finding out what it is that your dreams are, what your purpose is, and throwing in some things about healthy eating since that's what I do as well, and see if I can help you guys. So what I wanted to talk about this Saturday was when is it time to quit? And I talk a lot about never quitting and not giving up and keep trying because, as soon as, eventually it's going to work. But I don't mean this about everything. So and part of it made me think about this morning because it was my children's first soccer game. And I think about the things that my older one has tried. He's tried flag football, and this is his, I think, third or fourth year now in soccer, and he loves it. And this is my younger one's first year in soccer. So the first thing that you want to think about, if you've been doing something, you've been working at it, and you're really not sure if it's the right thing for you, is are you doing it for somebody else and not for yourself? And a lot of us can get stuck in this situation because we grow up and we get told that there's certain measures of success. And for me, that was go to college, get a degree, get a good job. And that really did work for me for a while, and I still love the job that I was in. I love being a dietitian, but I realized when I got introduced into the entrepreneurial world that it wasn't my definition of success. And, and I've seen people go into family businesses and do things with their lives that really didn't have anything to do with them. It was just what they've always been taught. So that's one thing. Now, but you can also think about, just in a smaller terms, your children. So my child, he tried flag football I think it was the year before last, and because he wanted to, he told us that he wanted to, and we made him, complete out the season because he had committed, but it wasn't for him, and I could tell it wasn't for him because he just had no joy going to the games. His mind was somewhere else when he was playing the games. The practices were a fight to get him to, and it wasn't something that I was going to make him do again, but I did want him to finish out that commitment that he had already made. But I know that sometimes we can, as parents, get wrapped around something that we might have done as children or in our childhood that we had wonderful memories around, and we want it so bad for our children as well that we might start forcing that on them. And that's kind of a mentality that we could actually grow up with, is we want to make somebody else happy. We don't want to let them down. This can happen a lot in network marketing because you get started, you have hopes, you see other people get really, they're really successful, and you can see what the potential is there. But I was actually watching Neil Anderson's Periscope from, I think it was yesterday. It was really good because he brought some really good points. And one of the things is, if you have been somebody who you've had success in your business, in your network marketing business, this means you've held a successful class, you have invited people, you've shared your opportunity or your product, and maybe you've achieved a certain rank. For my company, the kind of like the base rank would be elite. That's really your first milestone. But what it means to be elite is this means that you have held successful classes, at least 3 or 4, and you have personally brought 15 people into your company and 15 people into your team. But this is personally. That's when you really know that it's something that may be for you. A lot of times, though, we'll get into this and we start developing really good relationships with our uplines, our mentors, and our team, and then we don't know when to stop if it's just not for us. The fact is that network marketing is not for everybody. It's not an easy job, and it is something that has really grown me to have a thicker skin in the last 3 years, to deal with disappointment, to deal with failures, to deal with people not liking me, not liking what I say, not liking how I do things. I've really had to grow a thick skin. A lot of times we say that the number one fear in life besides death is public speaking. But when we get down into the root of what it actually is, it's rejection. We're being afraid of being rejected publicly when we are public speaking. And rejection in everything is what really drives, it's the biggest fear for a lot of us and drives what we do in life. And if you're in network marketing, you have to get used to rejection very quickly. Whether people don't want your product, they don't want to follow up with you, they don't want to show up at your class, whatever the case may be, but you really have to start learning that when somebody tells you no, that it's not personal and that you're not going to die from it. But if you're somebody that you've been going at it for a year, 2 years, and it starts to feel like work, and it's something that is just not, you want to make other people proud. You want to make, because you've got people watching you, maybe you've talked the talk, and you have really had this ideal of what you want to become, and it's not happened. You've not achieved the results that you want. That might be a good time to look at and see, is it time to quit? And the reason why I say that is because the second biggest reason why you would want to consider quitting whatever it is because it's a good chance it's holding you back from something that you should be doing. It's a good chance that it's holding you back from God's purpose for your life. God's purpose for life is not network marketing for everybody. It's a really awesome way to make money, make residual income, and create time freedom and financial freedom. But that doesn't mean that it's God's calling on everyone's life. And if it's stopping you from your true purpose, then that's a good time to quit too. Just kind of a little simple thing for me to say would be, just kind of bringing it down, is singing is not my purpose. It's not my gift. It's not something I'm good at. When I sing in the car, even my 4-year-old tells me to stop. It's just not good. But it doesn't matter how many times I sing, how many times I try to sing or sound good. It's never going to happen for me. And there's been times where I've seen at church in the choir, really feeling like that must be a really awesome feeling to be there and to be able to sing in the choir and be a part of that. But it's not going to happen for me. And there are a lot of, self-development teachers out there and books that we can read that might say something like, just believe that the universe is going to give it to you. Or, sometimes as Christians we can say, well, I'm going to just pray about it. And some things we just don't need to pray about. Some things God has already answered for us. He's already told us what our purpose is, and we just aren't paying attention because we're too busy looking at man's approval and not his. And that's where you really have to think about, am I doing the right thing? Am I on the right path for my life? So those are really kind of my key points here, is not to be a downer, not to say you should just quit if you're not getting your results. Because if you're somebody that has had success, it might just be a time to take action and just kind of redefine what your purpose is and what you're actually doing, and just go do it. But for others of you, it might be that you're trying to be good at something, or you're trying to make something work that's not going to happen. If God doesn't want it in your life, he's not going to let it happen. I've learned that one myself. I've learned it myself the hard way, that it doesn't matter how many times you try to make it work, it's not going to happen. So it's got to bring you joy. It's got to be ultimately for your purpose, not somebody else's, and for the purpose and the calling that's been placed on your life. And that's up to you to figure out. So hopefully that gives you some insight. Neil Anderson's, he's the Starfish guy, his Periscope is still up, and it was really, really awesome. So if you don't follow him over on Periscope, I would recommend going in and checking that out as well. But have a wonderful Saturday, guys, and thanks for joining. And put in the comments what your passion is, what your purpose is. That's something that I really like to hear from people, because it's really a huge aha moment when you can realize why it is that you do what you do. And I would love to hear what some of you guys what it is for you. Why are you doing what you do, and what gets you up out of bed in the morning? Because when you know that, there is no question about whether or not you should quit, because you've got that purpose in place, and you know you're on the right path. So have a great rest of your weekend, guys, and I will hopefully be able to talk to you tomorrow.